Good evening, everybody, and welcome to EV Review Ireland. My name is Derek Riley, and welcome to the March edition of the EV Review Ireland Power Hour, where we chat about some topics and we get some interaction from you as the viewers. Let us know where you're dialing in from, where you're watching us on. We already have our comments coming in, and we already have a number of people watching, so thank you so much for that. We have Cam's EV, evening all. I'll be listening all the way home in the ID3. That's Colin Hennessy. Great to see you, Colin, and safe driving out there. We have Brian Casey. Good evening, Derek. Great. Make sure you write into the comments and let me know where you're dialing in from. So lots to discuss this evening. We've a lot to cram into the hour, and we want to make sure that we're getting everybody's topic. So whether you're watching on Facebook, whether you're watching on LinkedIn, or even on the YouTube channel, you can leave a comment and let us know where you're dialing in from. If you haven't done so already, make sure that you've subscribed to the channel. We're just over 6,200 subscribers, so we're flying along. Lots of interesting, a good community there of people that are leaving great comments and supporting each other. Unfortunately, I don't know anything. We've got Jim Shed coming in. Hi, Derek. Regards from Jim Shed. Great to see you, Jim. Jim has his own channel there called Jim Shed, where he carries out a lot of home maintenance and DIY on the cars that he owns. And he's also about to get his ID4 Business GTX. I think I've got it right, Jim. You let me know in the comments if I haven't. So lots going on today. It's International Women's Day, so I'd like to recognize that and all the amazing women in our lives. So make sure that it's not just for one day of the year that we recognize them every day of the year, but it is the International Women's Day today. Obviously, we've got a lot of stuff going on over in Eastern Europe in the conflict in Ukraine as well. So don't want to get too political on the show, but definitely want to recognize the fact because people will be watching this back. They may not be watching it live. So the topics that I talked about when I put this invitation out to everybody today was, number one, what I think will be my perfect EV. And that is just, I've been driving them now for a couple of years, and I've been picking and choosing the elements that I think are what I would like in my perfect EV, because everybody's always asking me, what do you pick, or what should they select? And it's different for everybody's needs. Also, we have the Tesla Model Y after landing in Ireland, and so a number of people picked them up there last weekend, and also in the UK last week, so lots of stuff going on there. I can see we've got some people liking the video as well, so whether you're watching it on Facebook or LinkedIn or YouTube, make sure that you're, whatever way you can interact with the feed, I'd really appreciate it. Last thing we're going to talk about today as well, we were chatting about my favorite EV, the Tesla Model Y. I can't even remember what was the last thing that we said we're going to talk about. Let me remind myself, because there's a lot going on. I'm heading away tomorrow to North America, so trying to remember everything that's going on and having a power hour the evening before I go. The last thing we're going to talk about is having a full battery in your electric vehicle in less than 5 minutes, and would that interest you? So definitely something of interest in it. So we've got people dialed in from our YouTube channel, we've got people watching on LinkedIn, and we have people watching on Facebook as well. So lots going on. You can, if you haven't already looked back, I've got some really good first drives on the channel recently as well. So we've had the ID Buzz covered drive, so I was able to talk about what it was like to drive, but it was kind of camouflaged. That big announcement is coming tomorrow evening at 6 o'clock GMT, March the 9th, and that'll be talking about what is the unveiling. There won't be any more camouflage. You'll be able to see the different versions of it, so lots going on there. We have Tancred. Hi, Derek. Greetings from Dungarvan. Good to see you. Hope that's not your profile picture. Maybe it is. If it is, it is. We have Paul dialing in from Mayo. Nerf Paul, great to see you. All the comments currently coming in on YouTube, so I'm hoping that we're streaming to LinkedIn and to Facebook as well. So if you are on LinkedIn or Facebook, just drop me a comment so that I can see that it's coming through on the live stream. So I had that ID Buzz And let me know in the comments what you want to talk about. I've put up 3 elements there that I just think might be relevant to people that are coming to watch the Power Hour, but you might have a question. I had an interesting phone call today with a operator of a number of fuel forecourts, petrol forecourts, and they were asking for my 2 cents on things that they should consider when they're putting in for new charging stations, new solutions. I can't say who it was, but it was good that they reached out and they wanted to know what my thoughts were as a member of the EV community and elements that I think would make a difference to charging stations and in that fuel environment, that petrol station environment. Ray, good man. Thank you very much. LinkedIn stream is working. Just people are shy. That's all it was, Ray, but I appreciate that. So yeah, it was nice that petrol retailer reached out to me today because they want to become energy retailers, and obviously it's a big investment when you look at the likes of other jurisdictions like the UK and in the United States and North America and Canada. There are places where there's big government incentives, but we don't have that here. There obviously is a government plan that has been tendered for, and ESB e-cars were the winning tender in that, so they are interested in ESB e-cars are obviously looking for sites as well. So nice to get that phone call. What else have we got going on here? Des, good evening. Hi Derek, first time I join you live. Any news on the price of the new e-Niro? No, got word today that I might be going to have a look at it. So the e-Niro, no prices yet, Des. Looks good as well. I like the styling of it. That it has an unusual C-pillar for those that haven't seen it yet. It has a contrast C-pillar if you want it to be contrast. There is a full body color on it as well. I presume it's going to be around the same, late 30s, early 40s, Des. I can't see them changing the price too much, especially when you have the EV6 up already at the 50 and 55 in Ireland anyway. Is the e-Niro still current? I definitely think so. It is a great size car for those that want that SUV size, number one, and the battery, the fuel efficiency. Amazing, absolutely amazing. We've got Jimmy coming in. Hi, Jimmy. How close is the buzz to the original concept that Johnny Smith drove? Not, Jimmy, no. The one that Johnny Smith drove in 2019 in California, beautiful, but pure concept stuff like slidey out steering wheel and all that kind of stuff. So unfortunately, not that close, Jimmy. And I think that was the end of the last major concept cars that were putting stuff out there that was crazy, wacky. Whereas you've seen the likes of the Honda E and the Ionic 5, they're much closer to what they've revealed. We have Tancred. I would be interested to know which EVs from China are coming to Ireland. So we'll have Polestar launching very soon in Ireland towards the end of this month. Obviously owned by Geely. We'll have Aura Cat coming into Ireland. And there are other Chinese brands sniffing around as well. I've heard that either Enterprise Ireland or IDA, one of the two, have had meetings with Chinese car manufacturers. So MG, obviously Chinese brand as well. So there are a number of Chinese, some of the Teslas are coming out of Giga Beijing. And so there's a number of Chinese cars already on the road, but more of them are coming. Definitely, we've got the Xpeng or Xiaopeng, whatever way you want to pronounce it. We've got the BYD. We've got the Neo potentially coming as well. They're already in Europe. We just have to wait for them to have a look at the Irish, UK, and Malta market for right-hand drive. Everybody forgets little old Malta. Hi, Derek. What do you make of the price increase in the petrol diesel at the moment? It's tough, Brian. Absolutely tough. Obviously, we're in the camp of, I'm thinking you're an EV driver, €2 per litre now. Do you think that the long term the government could keep that price high? Yeah, there's going to have to be, unfortunately. It is the government percentages stayed the same. They haven't put the price up. It's just the initial price of the cost of it and the price of crude and the refining of it. So it is going to be an interesting one with regards to, is it sustainable? I've never had more phone calls or messages this week or people on social media tagging me saying, oh, now is the time I'm going to go electric. And when you look at that, is it carrot and stick? Are people forced into going electric? Should they have gone electric of their own free will? To encourage the change to electric, yeah. I don't think the government will bring the price down. It's unfortunately the price is the price, and they need that funding towards government as well. And that price goes towards everything, our infrastructure and also our health system. And petrol and diesel burning of that fuel leads to the other end of the scale where people are in hospital with respiratory illnesses. But thank you, Brian, for the comment. Greetings. Good to see you, the Plug Seeker, the YouTube channel. Great to have you along on LinkedIn. Thank you very much. Phil Halpin. Good evening, Derek. Phil, the taxi driver. Good to see you, Phil. There's a couple of electric taxi drivers that I get on a regular basis around Dublin, and they've started to know me now. I was in a taxi before Christmas and I had the mask on, and the guy said, are you Mr. EV Review Ireland? He recognized the voice. So it's all good. I'd have my eye out for the hi-fi. Oh, nice. I have a second YouTube channel, for those that don't know, with a good friend of mine, Blake Boland, called EV Platform. And on that channel, only about 2 weeks ago, we had Will from China Driven. He has his own YouTube channel. So that's 2 other YouTube channels I might be interested in. So China Driven, all one word. And then myself and Blake Boland have EV Platform, and we interviewed Will and went through all the EVs that are coming out of China that may come to Europe. So yeah, the Hi-Fi X was one of them. Thank you very much for that. Hi Derek, any idea when we might test the Nissan Ariya? I know that there's going to be an international press launch. Didn't get the shout yet, but there are other Irish reviewers and no doubt UK reviewers going to go to that, and then there'll be a launch here in Ireland, but it's coming close. It's definitely in the next month or two, we'll start to see Ariya stuff coming out. Thank you for the question. Barry Cronin. Sorry, I've totally butchered that name. Corin. Good evening, Barry. Thank you for commenting. Gav number 1. Hi, Derek. Hello, Gav. M space G. Could he be anything to MG? Hi, Derek. Loving the EV6. Oh, yeah, beautiful car. Marketing says 520 kilometers range. In practice, 450. Apparently, it determines the max range based on previous driving habits. Is that true? Great question. What that means is it'll take the last couple of days and your driving style and say, okay, based on your driving style, this is what the car estimates you will do. Now, also take into account we're probably around the 7, 8, 9, 10 degrees at the moment, MG. So as the temperature starts to increase, you'll definitely start to get more. So yeah, on a good day and pottering around town, you'll definitely go over the 500 kilometer range. If you're doing cold weather, if you're doing lots of fast driving on the motorway, it will affect that. A great website to have a look at, MG, is the EV database, which is based out of the Netherlands, and that would show you the ranges as to if it's a cold day on the motorway, what your car will get versus a warm day in the city, different driving styles. But yeah, you will get that range. And you'll start to use stuff like regenerative braking, and how you drive MG will dictate that range within it. So absolutely. Roland, electricity is going up too, unfortunately. Yes, Roland, a two EV house there, a Mini and a new e-Niro. So Roland, we're not that smug as EV drivers for sure. Gav, is there any thoughts on the new shape MG EV estate? Looks nice in my opinion. Yeah, I love it. I liked the original one, and obviously I've had it on the channel twice, the original one and the long range MG5. And they are going to be changing the shape, hopefully. They will be changing in the summer, all going well. Just getting them now is the issue. MG, a lot of people waiting for the MG ZS long range. And the new MG5, that shape, the new shape. Yeah, if you haven't seen it yet, when I reviewed the original one last year, the day I reviewed it, the day before, MG Europe brought out the MG5 refreshed looking one. So it was mad. So now MG Europe and MG Ireland and UK are all together, and they're all working a bit more in sync, which is great to see. Thank you, Paul. All these Chinese cars coming to Ireland too. All these Chinese cars coming, maybe not. I don't know. Thank you for the donation, Paul. I really appreciate it. So you can donate if you're on YouTube. You can donate via super chat or super stickers. And if you're watching this back afterwards over on YouTube, you can donate by PayPal or super thanks. All keeps the channel going. I really appreciate it. Are they all coming this year? Probably not, Paul. Oracat, yes. Polestar, yes. Obviously, MG is already here. Tesla is already here. And then we have BYD and XPeng and NIO. Maybe not this year, but potentially next year. Potentially this year. The plug seeker is back. Fleets going electric combined with vehicle to grid will help reduce the peak needs of the grid. Absolutely. Hopefully will help reduce the Russia dependence. Absolutely. We need to maybe cycle a bit more. We need to maybe have no car Sundays. We need to use public transport a bit more. It'll still use diesel, but you're getting more bang for your buck out of utilizing it. Solar panels, so that you can maybe start to claim some of the energy coming out of the sun onto your property if you have it already. Wind turbines, if you can put it up at your property or your place of work. But yeah, fleets, taxis, businesses going electric, and then that vehicle to grid. So what the plug seeker is talking about there is all of these batteries in electric vehicles being able to give back to the grid when the grid needs it between 5 and 7 in the evening, when we're all coming home having our dinners or our teas, and getting kids ready for bed and having electric showers and all that kind of stuff. So if we have a lot more of electric cars, the ability to take a small bit, 5-10% out of each electric car, just to balance that grid down, and we're not turning on gas powered fired electric peaker plants is what they're called. So whenever we hit that peak, that the electricity grid is needed to bring that down again. We've got Chris coming in from EasyGo. Good evening, Chris, coming in on LinkedIn. So great to see you. We've got Thierry coming in from Paris. Bonjour, bonsoir. My French leaving cert teacher would be delighted with me there. Bonsoir, Thierry. Need, of course, vehicle to grid for type 2. That will be a big help. Absolutely, yeah. So at the moment, vehicle to grid really is only on CHAdeMO. And that connector has the ability to go both ways, bidirectional. And then we will have, there's rumors about Tesla, there's rumors about CCS, but yeah, type 2 and having that ability to bring stuff back to the grid or back to your property is important. Jim is back on. Derek, the latest news on the ID4 GTX arrival may be delayed due to the Ukraine. Yeah, so at the moment, crisis sorted on wiring looms. I just want to say that. I'm told hopefully not too long of a wait. Yeah, some of the wiring looms for the Volkswagen plants. So they've paused production for a couple of weeks, and they are, but yeah, so hopefully not too much of a delay, but obviously a bigger issue going on there in Ukraine. But you can just see how that global supply chain can affect everybody. But our thoughts and prayers are with those affected. And I'm sure, Jim, we'd all hold on for electric vehicles if we got a resolution to that as quick as possible. Paul, government cutting excise duty meeting to sign off tomorrow. All right, so they're actually going to bring it down just to take the edge off that. But yeah, we need to transition towards a more economical way of getting around. You're very welcome, MG. That's why we do the Power Hour. Smashy Rashi. Love it. 18. Love it when a plan comes together. Determines advertised max range based on trying to make it sound better. Yeah. So what they use, MG and Smashy Rashi is alluding to it there, is all manufacturers use a testing cycle called the WLTP, Worldwide something test protocol or procedure. I did a video on it on my channel. So if you go back and search WLTP and EV Review Ireland, I have Dr. Ewan McTurk from Plug Live Television, and he went off and did some research, and it's based on something like 26 degrees Celsius or mid-20s, and they do a combination of city driving, motorway driving, and so they take a bit of everything. The temperature is probably the main thing that we're missing out on here in Ireland, and they all use that test cycle. And so the range is in an ideal situation. Alan Grant is in on YouTube. Hi, Alan. Picked up an EV6. Love it. Anyway, to play Netflix on the infotainment screen would come in handy when waiting for the kids. A dad taxi. Absolutely, Alan. I don't think there is. I know Volvo are integrating YouTube onto their XC40 and their C40. So it might be more of an integration with Android Automotive more so than Android Auto. But I know you can watch it on your phone and have the sound come through your speakers, which gives you more of a surround sound thing. But yeah, not having it on the screen that I know of yet. But no doubt there's all these integrations and licensing that needs to happen between all of these manufacturers. We have Christoph coming in from Germany. Good evening, Christoph. What's the German for good evening? I'm lost. Should have done it more. Paddy coming in from the AA Ireland. Good to see you, Paddy, and good evening to you too. Paddy has launched a great new podcast there on all of the podcast, wherever you listen to your podcast, and the AA Ireland podcast. So some good guests on there already. And Paddy does the reviews as well, also on Instagram and on YouTube, the AA Ireland YouTube channel. Guten Abend. Come on, Brian. Christoph, hello. And guten Abend. I'm off to Germany, all going well, at the end of April to a friend's wedding, Cathal and Sarah. Looking forward to seeing them. Hi, Derek, from the EV Association of Northern Ireland, and that's Darren. Good evening, Darren. I was lucky enough to MC one of their recent webinars where we had a talk between the EV Association of Northern Ireland and John Byrne, who is with the ESB eCars network, just talking about the state of the network and what's happening up there in Northern Ireland. And it's not great at the moment, but thankfully it's getting better. And what we're going to do is look at that. So if you go to the EV Association Northern Ireland on their socials, there is a recording of that. So thanks everybody for coming in on the chats. I think I've gotten everybody so far, but definitely let us know where you're watching from, what channel you're watching from. So I'm getting Facebook, I'm getting LinkedIn, and I'm also getting YouTube. So great to have everybody here this evening. So I said in the teaser image or the invitation for this evening, my perfect EV. So I want to see if you agree with these points. If I was buying an EV tomorrow, these are the things that I would like to see on them, or the ability to get them. So first thing is a heat pump. And so for those who don't know, and if you haven't got into an EV yet, a heat pump is where you take ambient heat from around the electric engine, and it helps with the heating or cooling of the battery, so you get more efficient use out of the battery. So rather than being air cooled, you're actually using ambient temperature, either from the running of the vehicle or from the temperature of the outside of the vehicle. So on a perfect EV for me, I would love to see a heat pump ideally included, that I wouldn't have to pay extra for it, but I think a heat pump would be important. The next thing that I would love to see is on the AC side. So let me know if you think that's good. On the AC side, I'd love to see 22 kilowatt, like the new Renault Megane, which I had a first drive of on the channel. I think that review is up to 30,000 views already, so it's getting a great reaction. So the Renault Megane E-Tech Electric, to give it its full title. So that'll have 22 kilowatt AC, so amazing. And that's what you see, those pedestals knotted around Ireland and the UK. And when we say AC, it's the one that you have to bring your own cable to. If I didn't have 22, I'd love to have a minimum of 11 kilowatt AC. So a good high AC, the ability to take in AC on a good kilowatt rate, heat pump and a good kilowatt AC. Size of battery, what would I like? I'd like around the 60 kilowatt hour kind of size battery. I don't think I want much more than that. It's going to get me across the country down to see my mum and dad down in Balmullet in County Mayo without having to stop and charge. So a usable size of 60 kilowatts would be good enough for me. I know there's 77s and there's 80s and there's 90s out there, but I actually don't need it. 60 kilowatts would be big enough for me to get around, and I get a couple of days driving if I needed it. On the DC side of the charging, on my perfect EV, I'd like it to be able to charge around about between 75 and 100 kilowatt DC. There are faster out there, there are faster chargers out there, but do you know what? With the amount of chargers that are coming in out there, I think that a DC capability of between 75 and 100, so they're the big rapid chargers or fast chargers. No, not fast chargers, high power. That's what we call them. So I'd like to see that. Other things I'd love to see is adaptive cruise control. I like a panoramic sunroof. I like a reversing camera. I like a power tail lift. I like wireless Android Auto because I'm an Android user. Automatic rain wipers, blind spot detection, and heated seat and heated steering wheel. So far, they're the things that I really like in my perfect EV. So let me know in the comments what is in your perfect EV if I haven't included it. But as I'm driving a lot of different electric vehicles, I'm putting a little list together so that when I do go to decide on purchasing one, these are the things that I think I'd like to have included in it. Darren is back from the EV Association of Northern Ireland. Thoughts on rapid charging hoods and the availability of AC? Should it be available on the rapid charger or separate or not at all? Great question. And Darren, you might have missed the beginning of it. I had a conversation today with a forecourt operator here in Ireland. There were a number of sites around the country, and they were asking my advice on, as they roll out chargers and charging hubs. And one of the points was you definitely need to include AC as well as DC and have that mixture there. I think it's been a misstep by some of the other operators. We won't name them, but we know who they are, where they've just put DC chargers all the way along. And I think it's not fair on people who, number one, are driving a vehicle like a Renault Zoe that doesn't have DC capabilities, and where are they supposed to charge? The money, they're not big money to put in AC chargers. I think they should be separate, to answer your point, Darren, and I think they should be part of a hub. So a couple of ACs, doesn't even have to be there. ACs are easier to position and maybe up nearer the door. Like in Decathlon in Dublin, there's a bank of AC chargers right up front, outside the front door. And if people want to go in and hang around and they don't need the DC fast charger, ACs are the way to go. So my point is, yes, they should have ACs and they should be kept separately, not included in the same unit, because that DC unit is too valuable for those that need it. Simon is coming in with a question. What rate does the Ionic 5 charge at AC 22 charger? If I'm not mistaken, and people in the comments will let me know, it is Ionic 5 charges at 11 kilowatt AC. So it's only going to be charging at half. And if that, I might not be even right with that. It might be down at 7 kilowatts. You might have to spec it so that's 11. But the Ionic 5, to my knowledge, doesn't go 22 AC. And we'll come back to Simon on that. Thank you for that question. Alan, should it be mandatory for hotels to have EV chargers? Can believe the numbers that don't? Absolutely, Alan. And there's a piece of work happening there with my new job, nevo.ie, soon to be launched. And we're doing a piece of work on finding out exactly all the accommodation providers around the country that have chargers. You'd be surprised. And Alan, I don't think you are surprised. I don't think it's mandatory, Alan. What I think is going to happen is that people are going to pick hotels that have them versus ones that don't, and it'll be the unique selling point. And if hotels want the business, they'll need to put chargers in, and not just one or two, like banks of ACs in the car park. That's what we need to see, and people can charge overnight. And these can be 7 kilowatt ACs. They don't even have to be 11 or 22s, because you're there for hours, eating, sleeping, drinking, and then next morning you're going to be heading away and have a good top up in your battery. So definitely want to see it. Jimmy's back with a question. I like all of those, plus head up display. I call it a heads up display too, Jimmy, and somebody gave out to me because they said you've only got one head. So it is a head up display. I like them, Jimmy, but it's a novelty, I think. And I think the novelty would wear off. It wouldn't be a deal breaker for me. Now, in saying that, I had the new BMW iX last week, and I was down in Clare for my birthday, and I had the head-up display on it, and yeah, it's lovely. It's nice when it's in it. Would I spec it? I don't know. It maybe if it was on the trim, would I option it extra? I don't know. It's a tough one. The iX has a lovely augmented reality screen jobby as well, where it brings it up on that. So I'm glad you agree with me, Jimmy. Thank you very much. 11 kilowatt on the Ionic 5. Thank you very much, CJ. I would think I was right. So thanks for that. So they're my ideal elements of an electric vehicle. Jimmy came in with head-up display. What else would you like to see on an electric vehicle that is potentially something that you're missing out at the moment? I had a comment on one of my videos there for the MG5, actually, that the person wanted a flat floor for loading stuff in and loading stuff out. I think he was a taxi driver, maybe not, but the MG5 unfortunately doesn't have that flat floor, and so getting stuff in and getting stuff out, it didn't suit. So thank you very much for that. So they are my ideas for the perfect EV, or I'm building up my recipe list or my checklist as to what will be going on with the on my perfect EV list. Other things that we've got happening this week, as I mentioned last week, and this week we've had the Tesla Model Ys coming into the country. People that have gotten them are very happy with them. I test drove a lovely red one on the channel, and it was left-hand drive. It was a Dutch registration, and the right-hand drive one will be coming to the channel soon, and also I'll be interviewing one of the new owners on the channel soon. Des is in. A tow bar for a bike, yeah. And on EV database, Des, there's a great rating. It says vertical load rating on the tow hitch, and so having a tow bar, you may never tow a trailer, but that's what you're going to utilize to put that tow bar on the bike back. And there's a separate rating to what you tow versus that vertical rating as well. Ooh, dual motor. I don't know, Paul. I honestly don't. I've never had the experience. I've never felt that I needed to have dual motor. Now, the Volvo XC40 P8, amazing. 400 brake horsepower, 660 Newton meters torque. Like, knock the socks off you. Absolutely. Blow the head of you. Do you need it? Probably not. And I was talking to motoring journalist Michael Sheridan, and he says, what we're going to start to see is people being caught out perception-wise at junctions, as people are used to a combustion engine vehicle and their takeoff, and will you be able to make it out of a roundabout before somebody comes around, or get out of a junction before that car comes? And people aren't realizing the torquiness and the how fast electric vehicles move along. And so, yeah, dual motor, beautiful if you can get it. I don't think I'd spec it, though. This is when we start getting really bad frosts and icy roads and snow, and front wheel drive versus rear wheel drive. We'll have a bit of fun with that. Had the app on the Zoe, but none on the Soul. So the app would be must. Yeah, that's a good point. I'll write that down, Jimmy. Better put the app in it. Yeah, a really responsive app. And I was talking to a new Ionic 5 driver today, and they were very happy with it. But they were saying that there's a couple of things that aren't on the Ionic 5 app, which is called, I can't think what it's called. Umo. No, is that the Kia one? Uvo. Maybe that's not the Ionic one, the Hyundai one. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. If you haven't already, make sure you've subscribed to the channel and make sure that you've, if you want to support the channel, you can do it via super chats and super stickers and super thanks on YouTube, on Patreon, and you can tip me on PayPal. But more importantly, make sure you're engaging with this, liking the video and commenting. That's what keeps it all going. The app, thank you very much, Jimmy. Might seem like a bit of a novelty, but a decent front size fruit or frunk. Yeah, I get that a lot now in some of the reviews when people are looking in and they're saying that they would love to see more storage being utilized. I think it's down to the shape and the design of the vehicle itself as to whether they are, whether the space, if it's like dual motor. Sometimes I know on the Kia EV6 and the Ioniq 5, depending on whether you have rear motor or single motor or dual motor, will dictate how big that front space is. I've talked to a couple of drivers, Brian, and some of them don't use it at all, even though they have it. But it's definitely somewhere handy to put charging cables, and rather than having them in a well in the boot. Any budget EVs coming to Ireland this year? Thank you, Patrick, for the comment. I'd say we're going to get the Aura Cat. I'd say we're going to get a new, did a piece on EV Platform, the other YouTube channel I have with Blake Boland, and we did a piece on the MG C segment coming into the country. That's going to be potentially called the MG4. No confirmation on that. There was a teaser video that went out last week or the week before. All we know, it's around 4.3 meters long, so roughly the same size as an ID3 Nissan Leaf. So that's going to be, I'd say, mid-20s. Aura Cat's going to probably be mid-20s as well. Dacia Spring will be next year, if not the year after. And that's probably going to be late 19s, early 20s. So yeah, budget, unfortunately, nothing too crazy, Patrick, but definitely manufacturers are starting to bring in. You've got the Volkswagen City Life, I think it's going to be called. Will EV prices go up now with the price of fuel? Irish Runner, will it accelerate the demand? Absolutely. You can't get EVs if you wanted one. Like, there's people waiting end of this year, beginning of next year for electric vehicles. Like, it's a real issue with supply, because there was a lot of people that want to go electric vehicles, but it isn't there for at the moment. Kia's Uvo. Thank you very much, Jimmy. Thank you very much, Roland. The Uvo app is for Kia, and as a new Kia e-Niro or Niro E, depending on what country you're watching from, that's what you'll be using. Wireless phone charger. I like it too. Yes, and as long as there's a wireless Android Auto, unlike the Kia EV6 and the Ioniq 5, where you have wireless, but you don't have wireless. You have wireless charging, but you don't have wireless Android Auto or Apple CarPlay, which absolutely makes no sense. So if you want to have the stuff on the screens, you have to plug it in. So the wireless one is, well, you can charge your phone. What I find with the wireless chargers, Roland, is that the power is pretty low and the phone gets pretty hot. Alan, good evening, Alan. Great to see you. Hope you're ready for the buzz tomorrow night at 6 o'clock. Alan is the commercial director for Volkswagen in Ireland, and I was recently on that trip with him over to see it. So yeah, we're all super ready for it. I will be in the air flying to the United States. So I will miss the actual launch, but I'm sure my phone will be lighting up when we do get it. So I'm looking forward to Herbert Dees and that. So yeah, looking forward to that. Roland added a frunk to the e-Niro, handy. Expecting the new boot liner coming tomorrow, adding an additional 100 litres. Yeah, so there's a couple of aftermarket liners that you can put in. And I think Kia and some dealerships have said, yeah, it's okay. No, don't hold me to that. But Roland will let you know. But yeah, so to kind of drop it in to utilize the space in the front of the Niro. So great to see it. John James Kelly, great reviews and knowledge as always. Keep it up. Thank you very much, John James. I really appreciate that. Trying to keep everybody happy. There's a couple of naysayers out there and a couple of non-believers, but it's a really nice community we have here on all the channels, and people that are watching in and listening in and want to learn more, and they might be just sitting back and watching everything, and then every now and again I'll get a message directly or through one of the social channels, so I'm on Twitter and Instagram, etc., and looking for advice or thanking me they bought a car. So yeah, it's great, it's really good. And I was talking to one of the marketing directors of one of the manufacturers, and they were saying, do we get much negative comments on the channel? And I really don't. It's a really nice community, and everybody that subscribes to the channel, and if you haven't already done so, please do, really are supportive. I've only ever blocked one person. I shouldn't say that now because I'm just attracting it, but yeah, it's a nice community, and the channel and all the social streams, really helpful, really good, really lucky. Aftermarket wireless Android or Apple CarPlay possible? Yes, with the Kia EV6 and the Ionic 5. Yeah, definitely. I think the manufacturer should put it in though, Roland. We have John and Marisha O'Donnell. Hi from Shannon, County Clare. Love the channel. I was down there last week. Not in Shannon, just up the road. I was lucky enough to stay in Dromoland for my birthday. I was treated. And so I popped into Ennis, and I went into Murphy's Menswear in to see Declan there. He looked after me with a suit. Had to kit myself out when I was down there. And had a good chat with Declan. I met him at one of the meetups there at Junction 14 a couple of months ago, so it was nice to meet up with him and go in and support his business if we can at all. So yeah, Model Y is coming to Ireland. Looking forward to test driving it. I found it a small bit hard when I drove it. I had it up in the Dublin Mountains, so I'm looking forward to seeing if that's still the case. I know it is probably a small bit of a harder ride, and I get that feedback from some people, but I will wait and hold judgment. But amazing size. The size is phenomenal. In the cabin itself, the fact that you've got that tailgate all the way hinged to the roof, and the front and then the boot, absolutely amazing. Declan's in there. Speaking of the man, Declan drove the Model Y the weekend, and I went with a friend of mine to collect his to bring it back to the Banner County, your favorite county. It's really impressive. There's Declan in his tuxedo, who I bought the suit off last week. Yes. Impressive. Would you go for Declan? Now, Declan is a BMW man, and he's looking at a nice BMW. He has been in a couple of BMWs. He drives a 330e at the moment, so it'll be interesting to see what will tickle his fancy, be that the i4 or be that something else, or will he make the jump over to Tesla? But great to hear that your friend is happy with it and drove it all the way down. It is impressive, for sure. And as impressive as the 3 was, and I know Kevin Dowling, PRO at the Irish EV Owners Association, he picked up one as well during the week, a lovely blue one. He has had red cars all the way through, and he went blue, and he said the difference in it. So that's a Tesla Model 3 owner, and pretty decent spec and trim and finish level versus the Tesla Model Y. And he says it's a big car, but he says the finish is great. So great to see it. The last thing we wanted to chat about before we get caught up on all of the comments was, would you like your EV battery to be full in 5 minutes? And really what I want to talk about there is battery swapping. And NEO do a lot of this in they have a couple of stations in Norway already. We've got Jan over there in Norway. He's done a video on it on his channel. But you're talking about 4.5 minutes to swap your battery out. So the way that it works in China is you pay a base rate for the number of, depending on the battery size and the number of times you're planning on changing it. So it's all like a subscription. It's charging as a service, or battery as a service. Apologies, that's what they call it, BAAS. Would you like the ability to be able to change your battery in 4.5 minutes? You drive into the station, it's all automated. They remove the battery that you currently have in, and they take it out and then put it back in a new one. And depending on the subscription level that you have, and you can increase it or decrease it, you can put in a battery with a bigger range, same form factor. Now, some people have said, oh, I don't know about the condition of the battery. I don't know about the health of the battery if the other person didn't look after it. But I'm presuming this is all covered underneath warranty. Would a battery swap solution work for you? It's obviously working in China because a lot of people are living in apartments, and they brought it into Norway. And Norway has... and I was lucky enough to be on a call a couple of months back with the chair of the Norwegian Drivers Association. And he was saying the Norwegian charging network could be better. And I was thinking, if you only came to other countries. And so if Norway are saying that their charging network could be better. So that's a very established charging network. And then to have NEO coming in with their battery swapping solution, which Tesla tried probably 10 years ago now, and it didn't really operate for them. So would battery swapping work for you if you could have a full battery in 5 minutes. Would you pay for it? Would you be happy with it? Agreed. Roland, don't see the need in Ireland. See, that's what I'm thinking. Suitable for delivery scooters, not cars in Ireland. No. What do you think? Let me know in the comments wherever you're watching. Is battery swapping a solution that you think we need? Is it solving a problem that we don't have? I definitely have seen some of those electric scooters, and I recently passed my initial basic training for my motorcycle license. And so now I need to get some practice on a motorcycle, pass my test, and I can start reviewing more powerful two-wheeled electric vehicles, such as mopeds and scooters and electric motorcycles. There's a couple of them on the market, and looking forward to getting on more of them. So I need to build up the miles. Brian is back. The only way there would be an advantage is if the range is 1,000 kilometers. Don't see the point if your range is about 300 kilometers, you'd be changing it every week. With the battery swap, Brian, you still can charge it. So the ability to slow charge it or rapid charge it or fast charge it, the ability is still there. So you can, but if you wanted to charge it, change it quickly and have a full battery, that's the point. Paul is back. No, we just want better fast chargers. You see, it's interesting to see how that goes. And will NEO now, it may be an urban versus rural situation where if you don't have off-street parking, the ability to go and change your battery on a subscription service and have the not having to wait charging at a public charging or park your car somewhere and encourage parking fees. Brian is here. Hi, Derek. Good to see you, Brian. I think that the scooter service, I think there is a scooter service with it in Asia somewhere, and they literally just pull the battery charge out and they swap it in. So there's a big bank of batteries. Bank of batteries, you swap them. I should just read the comment before I comment. I'd say that makes more sense, faster than the onboard charging. So the potential is there. So Roland is back in, and I can't imagine the logistics of the swapping service. So what they do, I'm sure you've seen the videos, Roland, is it's like nearly like a container, kind of a size of a unit, and they have a bank of batteries on one side, and the car drives up, and then it takes down the battery, swaps it over, brings down a full one, and pops it in and goes out. So its physical size isn't that the size of the actual site isn't that big, actually. I was surprised at it. Thierry is here. Thank you very much. Battery swapping is much easier for mopeds. Absolutely. Yeah, you can take it in, take it out. But in the case of cars, an island is much easier than doing a network on the continent. So Ireland would be easy. There you go. All right, still doesn't make much sense in Ireland. Thanks, Brian. Yeah, absolutely. It'll be interesting to see if they bring it, if NEO bring it, if they come to the country, and if they bring battery swapping. Also, I was listening to Martin Lee on EV News Daily podcast. If you're not already a listener, I'm happy to be an executive producer and sponsor that podcast. But Martin puts out 2 podcasts every day, a little 5-minute short video podcast, and then a longer 25-minute podcast. And he was talking recently about a stretch of motorway in China and where they're doing battery swap for heavy goods vehicles, so big trucks. And so I did a piece with a university student when he was doing his thesis on mobility solutions, and he was asking whether diesel is still going to be the way for heavy goods vehicles. And I was thinking, no, you're going to have battery swap, and you're going to have solid state batteries, better battery technology. You're going to have potentially hydrogen, and there's lots of uses other than diesel to get in and out with heavy goods vehicles. John James Kelly, the issue with the charging network isn't the chargers, it's the grid site not having sufficient power. Yeah, so getting that grid connection and having substations and power coming in, there's a cost and there's a backlog of people trying to get it for sure. The scooter services Go Row in Taiwan. Very good. I know that I think it might be Ola in India as well have that battery service. So good to see it. But going Dublin to Croke Park, Mayo man, come on, Paul. But going to Dublin to Croke Park, battery swap might be there you go. You see, don't have to hang around then. When we beat the Dubs, you can just go in, change your battery, and you'll be gone out the road. I'm a Mayo man, as many of you know, and Paul is also from Mayo. So yeah, getting in and out of the capital. I live in the capital now, and I work in the capital. So there potentially is uses. Thank you for those that are still watching and commenting. Make sure you've liked and subscribed. And if you haven't already commented, let me know in the comments where you're watching from, why you tuned in this evening to see what's going on, having a little bit of a nose around. Trying to do these on a monthly, bi-monthly basis just to get people's feedback, and interaction is always good. So yeah, lots of things happening within the EV space, new car launches, etc. Thomas is in. Good to see you, Thomas. Battery swapping solves one problem and introduces another, in my opinion. Very easy for Thomas there in his Tesla Model 3 with the supercharger network to talk about charging problems. But joking aside, yeah, it's not perfect by any means, Thomas. It is, but it's a solution for people that potentially don't have the access to supercharger network and or don't have off-street parking. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it works, and if there's a way if it works. Ola and India only do this for trikes for B2B. Okay, thank you, Thierry. Very knowledgeable. I really appreciate it, and thank you for tuning in on LinkedIn. Hopefully you're enjoying this evening's Power Hour. So yeah, lots happening. So we've got the ID Buzz tomorrow, as I talked about. We did the Renault Megane there recently on the channel. Beautiful car. Some people are calling it a compact SUV, but really the designer, as I said in the review, it's calling it a family hatchback. That's going to shake up the market, definitely for the likes of the Volkswagen ID3, the Cooper Born, and others in that size of electric vehicle. So I'm really looking forward to others getting a test drive in it. So we're looking at prices potentially in April, and then for the Renault Megane E-Tech Electric, and then hitting dealers probably end of Q3 with cars on the ground, and whether you'd want to buy an end of 2022 222 plate, it'd probably be 231 plate for the Renault Megane. Des is back. Will battery swapping require a standard battery? Yeah, so what NIO do is the same size battery, and then you can, depending on what subscription you're on, it might get you 300 kilometers or it might get you 700 kilometers. They can just put in more cells into the actual, so it's a uniform pack. And I've heard somewhere where they're actually looking at bringing in a standardized pack for a number of manufacturers, not just NIO, that Chinese government are saying, right, we want to standardize this. I think it was Chinese government that said they want to standardize this so that it'll be the same pack for different manufacturers, that we're not being proprietary. Jim is back. Derek, have you used the Ionic fast charger and Circle K Nace Road yet? And if so, what sort of power they're putting out? It'll depend on your car, but I think it'll go up to, if I'm not mistaken, Jim, it will go up to 250 kilowatts. People in the comments, let me know. Ionic on the Nace Road. So there's a northbound and a southbound. I did a video where I challenged Stavros, who now is, I don't think he's EV anymore. He definitely just got rid of the Honda E, but he drove the EV6 there recently. But anyway, myself and Stavros 969 on YouTube challenged each other to 1,000 kilometers on, we both had Opel Mokka E's. And what I did was I went between the Ionic and Circle in Nace Road to the Ionic in Cashel up and down the motorway, just following that charging curve. So to answer your question, Jim, I'm pretty sure it was either 150s or 250 kilowatts. They're one of the fastest in the country anyway, that and the rapid high power, chargers out of the ESB. I'm trying to remember the names of these chargers. I have used both of them, northbound and southbound, and they're fairly high. Your ID4 GTX will have no problem taking all of the juice that they can give it. But we must have a chat about the charging curve, Jim. Go on to evdatabase.org and type in the car that you're getting, the GTX, and there'll be a picture at the bottom of that screen from Fastned, the chargers in the Netherlands. They're in other countries as well, but it's a Dutch company. And it'll show you the charging curve of the ID4 GTX. John, hi Derek, listening to you in my EV6 small world. Now, if you've got any questions about the EV6, John, I really appreciate it. Are you just listening to me? Are you watching me? Are you listening to me on surround sound? Thank you very much. Get what you can, I'd say. A lot will take whatever reg they can get. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's to do with getting EVs and the availability of them. Ionic reaches a maximum of 350 kilowatts. Yeah, depending on the unit for sure. But you need to have a Porsche Taycan with 800 volts. Yeah, and the Kia EV6 and the Hyundai Ioniq 5 both have big. They're both 800 volt architecture, so they both can take big charges. I think the Ioniq 5 can charge faster than the Tesla Model 3, if I'm not mistaken. I believe most manufacturers offer a warranty on their battery of 7 or 8 years, unless the 5-minute battery swap is used for malfunctioning batteries. I don't see the point. I think it's just speed, Brian. People are interested in, I want to charge fast. And so this is an answer for people that, I'm not going hanging around 45 minutes to charge. And I think with the battery as a service model, Brian, you'll have that warranty still in place. So they'll warranty whichever battery is in your car. They won't put in a battery of poor health. They'll do battery management and health monitoring, state of health and state of charge monitoring on those battery packs. So they've done a large number of swaps at this stage. So it's interesting, the model that they have. Ionic Kill is great. Charge my Model 3 long range from 5% to 55% in 15 minutes. See, if your car can take the juice, the Ionic ones can give it to you. Back when, so Thomas did a 1,000-kilometer challenge as well, day trip around the country. Much more scenic, more than mine up and down the motorway. So thank you, Thomas. I love Thomas's profile picture. His Tesla Model 3 at an old fuel pump, petrol pump, I think it is, diesel. Would you recommend the MG5? And do you know the new model is on sale here? And it's summertime, soon it'll be coming, I believe. And it is, I like them. Now, the seat in the back, because of the battery pack, is when you do a test drive in it, John James, have a look to see how your feet go in underneath the driver. So there was a friend of mine down in Galway at the weekend, and they were sitting in the back, and he's a big guy, over 6 foot, and he couldn't get his feet in under the seat because the driver was tall as well. So between the driver's seat being down and the floor of the passenger being up, there was a bit of a mismatch there. So, but I think they're a great car. There's a good battery in the new long range version, and the facelift coming out as well. If you can get it, John James, you see a lot of them around Dublin as taxis, and that's always an indicator. You remember when Skodas really changed how they were made and the quality of them. A lot of taxi drivers went Skoda, a combustion engine, obviously, but you couldn't get a tougher environment to test a car for sure. So yeah, a lot of MG5s now. A lot of them have gotten this taxi grant. So there is a large support there, but MG5s, ID4s, a couple of Enyaqs, there's a good mix around Dublin. E-Neros, Nissan Leafs, as always. Brian Dowling, I found it okay. It was an MG5 taxi the other night, and he's 6'5". There you go. Tall Brian. Brian, I think, is still in a Renault Zoe. As a passenger in the back. Okay, good to hear. Now, I think it also has to do, Brian, with the driver as well, whether the driver is tall and whether he, she, or they have their seat down as far as they can go. Jonathan, how was the Renault you tested recently? Good to see you, JB. The Renault is really good. The Renault Megane E-Tech Electric, very, very impressed with it. Very. I'm really looking forward to more people getting in and test driving it and seeing it. We'll have the Irish launch in the next couple of months. You'd have other Irish reviewers having a look at it. But yeah, quality, fit, feel, really good. And I know there's a large Renault community in Ireland. And my brother is a Renault driver. And, between the Kadjar and the Captur and the Arcana now. So yeah, they really got a good range. But for all electric, the Renault Megane E-Tech, and you've got the new Kangoo coming out as well. So yeah, a lot of good stuff coming out of the Renault. And they're partnered with Nissan, and they're using that CMF platform. So the Aria will be based on the same platform as the Megane. So yeah, really enjoyed it, JB. Good to see you as well. Thanks very much for commenting. So yeah, lots going on the channel. We have some other good reviews coming down the line. We've got some more Meet the Owners. A lot of people really enjoyed those rather than listening to me waffling on. So people who actually own the vehicle. We've got different types of electric vehicles that we're going to do that on. I'm going to do a couple of videos on home chargers, the different types of home chargers available in the market. So, and listen, I know my competitors watch these videos to see what I'm planning to do, and if they do that as well, that's okay too. But yeah, looking forward to doing a couple of reviews on some chargers that are available, because if you're a member of the Irish EV Owners Facebook Association, pretty much every 36 hours somebody's asking about EV chargers, which ones are best, and where the good installers are. So I'm really looking forward to doing that review on the channel as well. Good man, Jonathan. Thumbs up. And yeah, Jonathan, or JB as we call him, was a Renault driver. I don't know whether you still are, JB. What else is coming down the line? We've got, I get worried sometimes about the types of, or the numbers of EVs that are available in the market, and will my channel be able to keep going with 2 videos a week? And there's no problem. Between new stuff coming out, concepts coming out, getting to international launches, Irish launches. The end of this week, you're going to get a lot of reviewers coming out with the BMW i4. The M50 is launching in Ireland, and the iDrive 40 is coming. And so there's a couple of press drives this week. I'm flying off to the US tomorrow, so I won't make that. So I'm looking forward to getting my hands on it. I was lucky enough to review it already in Germany. I had the M50 version. It's ironic that it's called the M50, and it's probably one of the slowest roads in Ireland. Derek, if you do you know if the E-Tech will be similar price to the Nissan Ariya? Oh, it'll be cheaper. It's a smaller car as well, Tancred. And so we're thinking guesstimation mid-30s to late 30s to early 40s, depending on the battery size. Whereas the Ariya, what we're hearing is UK price £50,000 up. So euros, that'll be mid-55. So you're talking the Ariya will be up against the likes of the Kia EV6 Ionic 5 for battery size and shape, and that's a proper SUV. I saw it at the Fully Charged show in the UK. Beautiful looking car. It's taken a long time to get here, and that's based on the same platform. So great question. Yeah, it will be just a bigger form factor on the top, and probably a bigger battery as well. The Renault Megane E-Tech Electric is coming in a 40 kilowatt hour battery and a 60 kilowatt hour battery, whereas I think the Nissan Ariya will probably be up in the 70s, mid 70s, maybe more. Usually those bigger vehicles, it's a bit like the ID4 kind of size. They may have a smaller battery, but I definitely think there'll be a bigger battery, and it'll be a more expensive car. Thank you very much, Kevin. I appreciate it. Coming at the end there with a comment. I'm glad you enjoyed it. The hour doesn't belong going by. Jimmy, I really appreciate the super sticker and support the channel. Thank you very much. Paul, can't get the missus to buy into EV. Any tips? Thanks. Send her my way, Paul. I'll have a chat with her. Just have to sit down and have a chat with her. Have you test driven one? Has she test driven one? What are the holdbacks? What are the worries? What are the concerns? There's a great community out there, and on International Women's Day, we want to make sure that all genders, everybody's happy with electric vehicles and they understand the benefits of them. They don't suit everybody, but they definitely suit a lot of people. Any FEVs with decent range? I was talking to Declan. Depends on what you think is decent range. Irish Runner. There are out there between 30 and 40 kilometers, depending on how you drive them. Maybe up even 50 kilometers, but the battery that may have encroached in the boot, so you might have a smaller boot size. So yeah, they're out there, and if you can utilize them, I know, as I said, Declan, he has a BMW 330e, and he uses it, like he gets a couple of 1,000 kilometers on a full tank because he doesn't use the petrol side of things at all. It's all on the battery, the plug-in. Didn't enjoy the i4 M50 drive myself. Found it nervous on acceleration, felt a large amount of slip from the front, and the eDrive 40 is a sweet spot. Yeah, I'm looking forward to testing that, Darren. I only had the M50 one, and it was a bit unhinged. It's an M badge, maybe people want that, but I'm really looking forward to the i4 eDrive 40. Thank you, Darren. Just purchased a Kia Niro, first charge 260, second charge, so it's 200. So magic. But joking aside, Fred, it is, depending on your driving style, the temperature is starting to increase as well. If you're doing a lot of urban driving, you'll get more of that as well. So is that miles? I'd say that's miles, Fred. So yeah, in the summertime, you'll get 350, the guts, and maybe even 400, because the battery temperature will be warmer, and the battery will work better between the electrons flowing with a warmer solution within that battery. Megane Scenic coming back in an EV later, closer to the Ariya size, I think. Yeah, Brian, yeah, they'll definitely do that size of people carrier, MPV and electric for sure. Hi, Derek, only got the kids to bed, so missed most of this. Unfortunately, Blake, you'll have to watch back. Safe flight tomorrow. Thank you very much. And take it easy on the bourbon over there. I don't even drink bourbon anymore. But yeah, looking forward to it. And thank you for the comment, Blake, and coming in on LinkedIn. So yeah, really appreciate all the likes and comments and support and financial contributions tonight, folks. Keeps everything going, keeps everything afloat. It's a full non-stop hour of me chatting away. I lose my voice after it. But thank you so much for everybody. There's lots of stuff coming to the channel, so as I said, make sure you've subscribed. It's great. We're heading towards the 10,000 subscribers, which is phenomenal, and it's a really good community. Thierry coming in from Paris. Thank you very much, Derek. Have a nice evening, everybody. Thank you very much, Thierry. At 9 o'clock there. an hour later. But so we've got more cars, we've got more vans, we've got a large electric vehicle, 7.5 ton electric vehicle coming to the channel soon. More two-wheel stuff, more e-bikes. We've got great support from the likes of Green Air, who've opened up their new store there in Sandyford. We've got Dublin Love Bikes. We've got RKS. So all of these places are great for lending me bikes to review. So e-bikes is obviously part of the solution. We'll hopefully have legislation for e-scooters as well coming down the line. But lots of stuff happening within the EV space, and it's not just EVs on the channel not just electric cars on the channel that I review. It's vans and buses. So I've got the Peugeot e-Expert coming hopefully soon as well. And we've got the commercial vehicle show coming up in a couple of months. We've got Fully Charged. So lots and lots and lots happening. But hopefully you've enjoyed tonight's EV Review Ireland Power Hour. I really appreciate all the supports in the comments. Remember, if you think an EV is for you, leave it to me and I'll review. Thank you very much for watching.